Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is lesson number 11 today of our 12 sessions. So we're getting down to the end of it all. But welcome, everybody that's here, and we're glad you're here. For those of you that are new, my name is Tammy, and I am with the Logan County Cooperative Extension here in Decatur, and I'm a community worker with the SNAP-Ed program. Hoping, and the goal is to help give everybody a better light on saving, shopping, meal planning, which is what our series was about. So let's hope we can move forward and add to that building block that we've been so courageously tackling this series. So a couple real quick things in the chat box here at the bottom. I'm going to put my email address. Feel free, please, to contact me with any questions or comments or concerns you have. I don't know all the answers, but I am certainly willing to find those answers for you and get those answers for you as quickly as I can, or reach out to someone that I know can get the answers for us. So today's lesson is on unit pricing and other shopping strategies that we might encounter while we're in that lovely supermarket. And it's always, got a challenging time going on there as well. So last week we talked about meal planning and how we can plan our meals, how we can save money in that aspect, and what we can do to, stretch the meals. We talked about leftovers. We talked about, buying things and planning your meals ahead of time, so you make sure that we look in our cabinets and make sure we know what we have or what we need, or those kinds of things. So we certainly covered a lot of things last time. Does anybody have any questions about those? Does anybody have any comments? How did the goals go for everybody? Did the goal planning work for you? I know we gave a handout also for like a meal plan for the week, to plan your meals and stuff for the week. So I'm hoping that worked out for you guys just as well. So a couple other things. We also talked about this entire time about two things. One thing is my plate, and we try and base everything off of my plate and how important it is to have a balanced plate, a balanced diet every day at every meal as best we can. It's not always possible. I understand that. And it's not always easy, but we try. 50% of our plate should be fruits and vegetables. Then we have proteins and grains and the dairy field as well. So that's kind of our goal. That's kind of what we try and base our meal planning, base our goal for nutrition aspect in our everyday life. Just kind of a common rule of thumb, just kind of so to speak. So that's kind of what we do. Okay, second of all, there's this really neat website. It's called Eat, Move, Save. I know the handouts have been handed out for those as well. So the Eat, Move, Save website is amazing. Eat, Move, Save. If you go to that website, there are tons and tons of informational, helpful hints, recipes, strategies, goals, all kinds of things for a wide variety of areas. So, some days, I don't know about the rest of you, but if I'm looking at this pound of hamburger and I'm like, gee whiz, what am I going to do with it today? I can go to the Eat, Move, Save website. I can type in hamburger and it will give me all kinds of recipes, whether I need it for the main dish or if I'm using it for a side dish, but there's all kinds of recipes in there. There's sample menus, what you can put together for a menu and stuff as well. So take some time and look at that. And look at all of those and all that information and see exactly what you have available. If there's something that you can, see. And if you got any questions about that, please feel free to reach out and we can answer those questions for you just as well. So my web page is in there. Then the other one is the Eat, Move, Save website that we just talked about. There's one other one that I like to share with you as well. It's called Find Illinois. And it's also a really good website you can get on and find out where if you need help with food, whether food pantries or just distribution of foods, a meal, those kinds of things. If you jump on the Find Food Illinois website, you can see what things are and options are available in your particular area where you live, what's close to you. What options do you have? Food pantries, churches, community centers, wherever that you can go to get a meal or get some assistance in food. So be sure and check those out. All right. So today we are going to talk about unit pricing and how we can make it work better for all of us. And it's for everybody. So what we try and do is we're going to try and limit, with limited resources that some of us have for whether it's for individuals or for a family. The goal for today is to help those individuals who have limited resources to think outside the box a little bit, because it's very time consuming sometimes, and it's an emotional drain to wonder where your meal's going to come from or what you're going to cook or how you're going to keep things balanced or keep things going. Times are crazy, not only right now, but if you've got a family and you've got kiddos and they're active in sports and school activities, it's kind of crazy. So what we want to try and do is help you to establish your own safe spot that that you can always return to help you plan those meals or work through that budget or get the best you can out of what you have. A few weeks ago, we talked about budgeting. So with keeping that budget in mind, this is how this unit pricing and other strategies that we're going to talk about today kind of all pull it all together for us. Okay. So, there's often challenging times going on within the families. Like I said, sports, schooling events, things going, kids and parents going 9,000 different directions, which always makes it really difficult. So I encourage you to kind of go back and review that one on meal planning and see if there's a way that you can kind of implement that into your weekly meal planning or biweekly or however you do that. So that's something to kind of think about. Okay, so what is unit pricing and how does it work? Does anybody have any ideas? Anybody got any ideas about unit pricing? Before we get too deep into that too, I do want to tell you that there's plenty of time and plenty of opportunity for, any of you to speak out and ask questions or give your comments or concerns. I'm never going to call on anybody. I don't want you to feel like you're obligated. So for this, we call voice by choice. So it's just you, whenever you want to ask a question or you feel comfortable with a comment or anything like that, please feel free to jump in, either unmute yourself or write something to me in the chat box and we'll handle it that way too as well. So, okay, unit pricing, how does that work? And what's the best avenue that we can come up with for unit pricing? Anybody got any ideas? It's one of the better ways that we can think about for managing our money. So if you just say you're going to go grocery shopping this week and you've got $300 to spend and you need to make sure you can get as much out of that $300 as you can. So how can we manage our money? How can we get bang for the buck, as we say, as the old saying goes. What can we get for our bang for our buck? How much can we get? Well, first of all, I can think of, we're going to, one of the best things we can do is meal plan. So let's plan our meal. Let's look at our cabinets and see what we have and what we need, right? Then what are we going to do? We're going to make our list. And then here's where we come into the shopping aspect. So shopping strategies, making a list, checking it twice, making sure we have everything we need, get everything in the cabinets, make sure we went through all of that so we don't duplicate in our menu, in our grocery list. How about if we look at the store sale flyers? Some of them still do sale flyers. I know some of the grocery stores still do sale flyers. However, others do not. So you go online and look up that particular store and find out what they have available. Okay, what is there available? What's on sale? Okay, when we're looking at the sale flyers, keep in mind a couple things. They're going to have things on there that are seasonal. So like fruits and vegetables are going to be prominent in a seasonal type thing. Like right now, you're probably going to get into like a strawberry season. So strawberries are starting to come on. So they're going to be a little bit, maybe a little less expensive right now. So kind of look for things like that that are seasonal, okay? The other thing is that you're going to probably see a variety of items in your flyer as far as brands. So you will probably have your name brand stuff. Excuse me. You're going to have your name brand stuff. Then probably you're going to have like an off brand, maybe a secondary brand, so to speak, and then the store brand. Okay. So name brand, let's call it a generic brand, and then a store brand. Most of your stores will have their own brand or their own line, so to speak. And they offer those on the sales. All right. Not always is the name brand the best buy. And for that matter, the generic or the store brand, not always either. Okay. So when we do our unit pricing, we're going to look at and compare all the same like, kind, and quantity. Okay, not quality, but quantity. So if I have a can of peaches that's 12 ounces of store brand and generic brand and name brand, then I need to look and see what the price is and figure up the unit pricing. Okay. All right, so keep that in mind. So we're going to compare those prices. And then we're going to compare the sale price. So in some cases, I know some stores will do just say 3 for so much, or 10 for 10, or, 4 for $1, or 4 for $5, whatever. So you need to look at those prices as well. Now, when you do that, we also look at not only canned goods. Canned goods stay on the shelf for quite a long time, so we don't have to worry too much about them spoiling or going bad, right? But what other things can we buy that we need to kind of watch this to make sure we can stretch or better manage that money? Okay, what about bulk products? Sometimes you'll get your meats in bigger bulk packages. So you'll have, let's just say, chicken breast, and there's 6 of them in a chicken breast. Well, heaven forbids, I don't need 6 of them, just my husband and I. So I can divide those down and just, a lot of times they're really good sized breasts. So I can do 2 in a package, and that serves 3 meals for us. When you do things like that, though, here's the other thing we want to keep in mind. Do you have the storage space? Do you have the adequate containers to store your products? What's the shelf life on it? Is it going to last before you use it? Those are all things to kind of think about. And then look at your cost. Okay. Got it? I know lots to think about, right? All right, so now let's look at the unit pricing. So let's just say, like I was talking about a while ago, I have a can of pears and I have 2 cans of pears, okay? So I have one that is name brand and one that is store brand or off brand, okay? And we're going to decide what is better. So more times than not, you will see these little barcodes in your display underneath your prices and stuff, okay? So if you don't remember how to figure what it is per unit or per cost, your cost per unit, this is always a good safe backup because it'll tell you. Most times they always have that available for you. Okay. So how do we figure that? So let's just say, let's change gears here for a second. And let's say we find 2 different size cans of pears. Okay, that's your handout for today. Okay, so if you guys want to follow along. So you have 2 different size cans of pears. You have 1 can of pears that's 16 ounces and it's $1. We have another can of pears that's 28 ounces and it's $1.35. Now keep in mind, just because it's a bigger size or bigger, like this is 20 ounces, 28 ounces to 16 ounces, doesn't mean always that the bigger ounces is going to be the better buy. In this case, it is. So how are we going to do that? Does anybody know how you figure the unit pricing? Okay, so here's what you're going to do. However many ounces you have, you're going to divide the price by the number of ounces in the can. So if we have $1, so we're going to take $1 and we're going to divide it by 16 ounces in a can, which gives us 0.06 cents per serving. Okay. And if you do that on the same thing on the 28 ounce, which is what we did here. So on the 28 ounce can, if you divide that, the 135 by 28 ounces, you're going to get 0.04 cents. So in this case, your bigger ounce is your better buy. Okay. Bigger ounces is your better buy. Does everybody understand that okay? I understand what we're talking about. So you can do this with anything that you're gonna buy. So if you have a can of pears and they're $2 and it's a 32 ounce can, then we're gonna divide 32 by 2 and get your answer per ounce or per unit. And a lot of times, you guys, this will help you decide if it's something that's really worth, worth the extra cost or worth the cost that you're going to endure. So in looking at name brand, generic, or store-bought, store line brand, you can compare which one's going to give you a better pricing, better unit pricing. That makes sense. So in budgeting, this is going to help you to decide where I need to go. Also, This is something I do as well. I don't know that everybody agrees with me on that, and that's okay because everybody's got their own opinion. However, if I go to the store and I find out that here's my meal plan for the week, and I need a can of peas and a couple cans of corn and a can of green beans and a can of fruit for my meal plan this week because I had everything else. But as I'm sitting there in the store, I'm looking and wow, here's these vegetables and they're 10 cans for $10. The sale ends this week. Well, I know next week I'm going to have, need fruits and vegetables in my meal plan next week. So is it better and money well spent to go ahead and buy that and utilize that on the sale flyer or the sale right now, opposed to just going, I'll just take what I need. And then next week I'll come back and get get what I need for next week. Well, a lot of times when they have a sale like that, if you don't get the 3 for whatever, or the 2 for, or the, however the sales worked out, then you don't get the sale price. So just because you went and bought 4 instead of 10, you don't get the sale price. So make sure you watch your signage on that as well. Okay. So that is also something that would help you to manage that budget and make things stretch. You see what I'm saying? Or make them stretch as far as we can. And that would help manage that budget and stretch that budget just a little farther. Okay, like we talked about earlier, managing the best way we can to get everything that we can for our budget. Use those sale flyers, use those coupons, because unfortunately about 14%, there's about 14% food thrown out per family a year. It's about $500 for the food. So if we can utilize and watch our cost and, take what we need, if we need extras, if it's a sale, then we're going to utilize it, then go that route, then that would help out tremendously on our cost as well. Also keep in mind, this all goes with this unit pricing. If I know that some of your recipes don't always call for a full can, maybe they call for 8 ounces and not 16 ounces, or 12 ounces and not 28 ounces. What are you going to do with the rest? Okay, once you open that can, it is going to spoil quicker. So be thinking about something you can do with the rest of that. Can I make a snack? Can I make a dessert? Can I hold it over till the next night and have it the next night for a meal? Those are all things you need to think about to save that budget. Okay. And when you're making your budget, making your plan, stick to it. Stick to what you have on your list. And heaven only knows I am the worst at that. I'll go through the store and go, oh, wow, that looks really good. I didn't have that on my list, but I think I like that better than what I had planned for the week. So you end up buying extras, which really wasn't on your list, which wasn't really figured into your budget for the day or for the week. So then, you kind of get into that category too. So that's something that you kind of need to watch. Okay. And always remember, you're going to take into consideration the shelf life of your food. If you buy in bulk, fresh or frozen sometimes works just as well. Frozen, if you take out so much and then, why it's frozen, just dump out what you need and put the rest of it back. You can stretch those packages as well. I've seen frozen fruits and vegetables on specials, on sales and whatnot in the categories or in your flyers as well. But make sure you take time to utilize those flyers. And if it's something that you're not really sure if it would stay fresh in your refrigerator or your cabinet, then consider what your options are of possibly freezing it. Breads are a really good thing you can freeze. leftovers, I really push leftovers pretty hard because we all forget about how easy it is to take something that's left over in your fridge and turn it into a meal for the next day. The example I give a lot is I had a roast for supper that had potatoes and carrots around it. We didn't eat it all. So what am I going to do with it tomorrow? Or even, I can skip a day into the next day. Can I make stew, make soup? Those kinds of things. Heck yeah, that would be great. What about chicken? We had chicken breast and we had some left over. Okay, so how about if I shred that and make chicken quesadillas or stir fry? Add some rice and make some stir fry. Add some vegetables and make a quesadilla. Okay, pretty easy to do. So don't forget to utilize what you have in the refrigerator or what your leftovers in your meal planning. That's going to really help your unit pricing and you're managing your budget as you go down the road. Okay, let's see, what else do we got? Just keep in mind too, a lot of times you want to make sure your meal's balanced, so make sure you have a balanced meal. Our recipe for today is a Rise and Shine cobbler, and it is not got a lot of protein in it. So make sure you substitute along with that to make sure you get the protein that you need, whether you do yogurt or you do some kind of meat or something on the side to help stretch that a little farther and to make sure you're balanced as well. So keep in mind that balanced menu as best you can. All right, let's talk about, anybody got any questions first of all? Unit pricing is pretty easy, but yet it can be kind of time consuming too to kind of look. That's why I say, you've got these, and these are kind of samples of what's usually on the grocery store shelf underneath the item. So it will tell you already. Unfortunately, take your glasses with you because they're not always this big, but it'll tell you what your unit price is. So you'll be able to compare and see, just make sure you got the same ounces or same, what you're doing. So you got your unit pricing so you can compare with that. Here's a couple inspirational quotes that they gave us to kind of look at. A bargain isn't a bargain unless it's something you need. A bargain isn't a bargain unless it's something you need. We've talked in lessons past about the opposite of need and want. When I go to the grocery store, what do I need and what do I want? Would I love to have that candy bar? Yeah. Do I need it? No, but I want it. So if I'm working on a budget, that candy bar, or that bag of chips, or the package of cookies or whatever, is going to be something that I may not need to have. I want it and it sounds really good, but to keep my budget balanced, that's something I may have to reconsider. Okay. Let's see. I have learned to seek my happiness in limiting my desires rather than attempting to satisfy them. Okay, so I take that quote as simply this. I'm going to limit what I want compared to what I need. So I desire to have a can of soda and a candy bar, but I want to limit what my actual needs are. Okay, so just a couple quotes. There's more in here that they left for us to kind of share and talk about. Let's talk about our take-home tips for this week. We have some take-home tips. So out of the unit pricing lesson, we had a few things that we want to make sure that we were able to really push hard on and get you guys to think about a little bit. So they are, before you buy in bulk, just remember, do I need that product? Is that something that my family, would really like? Is that something that we can really use and it's going to be okay? Do I have enough money to buy the larger product? Do I have a place to store it? And in storing it, do I have the containers to store it? And last but not least, am I able to use it before it spoils? So your canned goods, some of your dry goods and that kind of stuff have a longer shelf life. So make sure you check your expiration dates and that kind of stuff before you do that. Make sure you rotate that in and you know where you're at with those. When you freeze stuff, I always take a magic marker on the outside of the package and I write what the date is that I stuck it in the freezer, so that I know when I go to grab something, I'm like, oh, I need to use this package first. And keep things rotating. So I got the fresh, I use the older to the newer. That's something else you want to kind of make sure you do in the freezer as well. Okay, and then use the unit pricing to compare prices at the grocery store. If you have to take a calculator with you, if you have to use your phone calculator, whatever, but utilize that so that you can get the best buy. And like we said earlier, not always is it the name brand. Not always is it the generic. Not always is it the store brand that's the best. Look at your unit pricing and decide what works good for you and what it is, the price per unit. Like in this case, in our pears per ounce. And how is that going to work into our budget? And not always is it the bigger package that is the best buy. Okay, so remember that. Avoid wasting food by planning meals and snacks before you shop. So we talked about that. Think about what you're going to plan for the week. Think about what extra activities you have going on in the week. Do the kiddos have sporting events? Do you have a meeting? Do you need to grab a little snack to take in between time to hold you over? If you're going to a ball game or, whatever, gymnastics or whatever is going on with the kiddos, do I need to, throw in some granola mix or some trail mix or, a bag of veggies before I go to make sure that I have a little snack for the kids so that they're, we're not apt to run through that drive-through or that fast food restaurant. And buy foods that can be used in several ways, like we talked about. So you want to buy a big bulk of chicken. Now I've got it. I can make quesadillas. I can make cream chicken. I can make chicken and noodles. I can, bake some chicken, grill some chicken. Use things that you can make multiple different dishes out of. Okay, so it's not just the same old thing. Okay. All right. So let me see the Rise and Shine Cobbler. This is kind of a unique little thing, and this uses canned fruits. And the one thing we want to remember about canned fruits is we want to make sure we either get them in water or in a light syrup. In the heavy syrup, it just adds so much to the calories and the sugars and all that kind of stuff into your meal. So we want to try and stay away from those as we can. So we need a 16-ounce can of both peaches and pears, either in, pack them in a light syrup. And then we're going to drain them before we use them and make sure they're sliced. If you got the whole ones, make sure you slice them up. A half a cup of prunes or dried cranberries, whichever you prefer. A quarter teaspoon of vanilla extract. A quarter of a cup of orange juice, or if you want to take a whole orange and squeeze it. And a cup of low-fat granola or anything crunchy. So like you could use a whole grain cereal. You could use granola. You could add, whatever you kind of wanted to in that aspect, okay? So you're going to mix everything together, and then you're going to rub an orange against the grater to remove one teaspoon of the orange peel. And cut the orange in half and squeeze out 1/4 cup of the orange. And then you're going to add the rest of your vegetable or the rest of your fruit. You're going to top with granola or your crunchy cereal, whichever one you prefer. And microwave on high for about 5 minutes. And spoon into the bowls and serve warm. So I would kind of take this as something that I would serve on the side of a main dish. If I was doing like an egg casserole or, you know, something like that, I would kind of serve this on the side just as an added so that I didn't lose the protein value and the protein I needed to balance out the diet or the meal for the day or for that particular thing. So now the goals for this week. So I have 3 goals that they have attached on your take-home list there. So your take-home tips is I will buy foods in bulk for my family that I can use without wasting. I will use unit pricing to compare prices at the grocery store. And I will avoid wasting foods by planning meals and snacks before shopping. So I challenge you to hang this on the refrigerator or your cabinet door or wherever it's convenient, bulletin board, wherever it's convenient for you guys and you can see it. And I challenge you guys to use at least one of those goals for this week. So challenge and use one of those goals. Use them all if you want to. I encourage you to use as many as you want, but at least one, and try and implement that goal into your daily or weekly routine for your shopping, your shopping strategies to help improve the managing of your budget and help make things a little easier for you. So with that being said, I have nothing else. Has anybody got any questions? Comments, questions, concerns? Like I said, please feel free to email me if you have anything. I am more than happy to sit down and talk with you all about anything. I encourage you guys to try all of this goal setting and see if, you know, can make things, that's my goal, is to make things a little easier for you all. We're back here next week at the same time, and it will be our last session for this series. So next week it is food shopping. Again, you know, we're hitting that budget, but this is food shopping strategies to save money. So we've done the goal shopping. So next week we're going to work on how we can save money and use that unit pricing and use the budgeting. So now we're going to pull everything together and make it all work together, everything that we've done so far. So if nobody has anything, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Enjoy yourself. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night, everyone.